Today in class, this teacher asked a question, and 4 or 5 students raised their hands to answer. That's another way of saying that nobody called out, which means she won a minor invisible battle against wasted learning time. This mini is about the factors that led to this remarkably unremarkable moment, namely, the teacher's key beliefs about proactive classroom management that inspired this example of good teaching. First, she believes that she is the ultimate authority in her classroom. Making decisions for other people's children is a huge and scary responsibility. But when you're a teacher, your job is to drive learning, and learning won't happen unless you're willing to make and stick to decisions about classroom expectations. In the end, this teacher is comfortable with making occasionally suboptimal choices because she knows that it's better than the alternative, abdicating authority altogether. Second, she strives for 100% compliance. That means all of her kids meeting her expectations all of the time. She doesn't settle for 90%, which admittedly can feel like a win, because that still leaves 2 or 3 kids who aren't learning. And other students might notice the kids you ignore and think to themselves, so her rules are optional. Okay. Now, 100% doesn't mean being a tyrant. It means she expects students to follow directions, notices when they do and when they don't, and gives positive or negative feedback accordingly. Third, she knows the importance of holding kids to expectations from the get-go. Teaching a school year isn't a typical marathon. You have to win the first 200 yards and establish that you'll lead the race from beginning to end. If you're not out in front from day one, it will take a huge amount of effort to escape from nickel and dime misbehaviors. And the stakes aren't your comfort and happiness in the job, but rather all the learning that won't happen if you're playing catch-up with behavior. Lastly, this teacher knows that there are some effective proactive management moves that she should employ. Proactive management starts with making thoughtful decisions about which expectations you're going to hold firm on. Between your school's non-negotiables and your own, you should be able to clearly articulate how each of your rules will support learning. And if you're demanding 100% compliance on these non-negotiables, a list of rules that's too long will force you to divert too much of your attention from the lesson. When you've decided what's most important to you, you'll need to make these expectations clear to students. This happens on day 1, and you might want to codify them with visuals. And no matter how clear your expectations are, you'll always want to plan reminders, particularly for the beginning of class and before transitions. Issuing reminders will help you cut down on time spent deciding if a student is confused about what to do, or consciously choosing not to meet an expectation. Noticing your students' choices lets you react to them, but making students feel noticed will preempt misbehavior. Narrating when you see students following directions is a quick and easy way to do this. And we also have minis on how to cultivate good presence and how to move around the room effectively. Efficient and positive classroom environments sometimes look effortless, but smooth sailing like this is the product of a lot of hard work and the right attitude about students' intentions. So when people tell this teacher what good choices her students make, she knows what they're really trying to say.